What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. We are back for episode number 56, which is crazy.
And we're still not good.
What are we? What are we gonna do for our big 100 episode, Casino? Big just party.
Have the worst episode we've ever had. I don't know. I don't know.
like
Maybe we should do a live thing. I don't know. Live and then have it recorded. And anybody that has followed us can, or going to get on the train here soon, can watch a live episode of us, Dingledorfs.
How about we do it live shirtless in the same room?
Oh gosh,
just me and you.
You really want me to? I have to work out. Or we're just gonna we're gonna be Tom Segura and Vic Kreiser out there. Jeez.
But it is a beautiful Friday. It's starting to get hot as balls. I hate it. I'm going out of town for the weekend, taking the family to Disneyland Casino tomorrow at 6 a.m. So
you go there way too often. You go there too often.
I don't think we've been there since
you proposed, probably
since maybe last August, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time for you guys. But
oh no, did your thing cut out? I just heard you say but and then nothing.
Yeah, I'm cutting in and out, I think.
On that note,
just butter.
Yeah. On that note, let's dive into.
Yeah, I'm choppy.
I believe you said it was the 6th longest NHL game ever last night between the
correct. So
the Panthers and the Hurricanes.
Correct.
It lasted so long. I put a half-hour extension on my taping of this game, and it went past that, so I didn't see the ending. I had to literally watch the clip on YouTube.
Oh no, that's totally fair. And I watched almost every second of this game, which is a lot. How
long was it officially?
Oh shit, I don't know. I don't have it officially pulled up, but
ballpark it.
Fourth, so it was 60 minutes plus another almost 80 minutes. It was just shy of 80 minutes. So you're looking at 60, 121, like 158-ish minutes or 159 minutes or something like that. Essentially, they played 2 games.
It was 79 minutes and 47 seconds of just overtime.
Right.
So an extra,
and then add 60. So 138 or whatever. Add another 20 there.
Dear Lord. It ended at, if you wanted to watch this on the East Coast, it ended at 1:54 a.m. East Coast on a Thursday night. That is crazy. That is crazy. But let's talk about the game, Casino. How oh no, we're off to a bad start. Are you back? You're back.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm showing perfect connection, signal strength, excellent. It's just got to be my computer, man. You said $200?
Yeah, it's my.
Okay.
Yeah, on my end, it's same thing you just said.
$200. Okay.
All right. I'll just throw it to you to talk about the game, and then we'll just go from there. 3, 2. So, Casino, now that we know how long it was and that it didn't end until almost 2 a.m. on the East Coast, let's talk about the actual game. What did you think of the game and the Panthers playing on the level of the Hurricanes and eventually winning the game in 80 minutes of overtime?
I loved the game. I loved every second of it. I was on pins and needles. They had really good, even that far into overtime, they still had a really good structure and gameplay. It got a little sloppy. Obviously, you're exhausted, but their chances that they were having throughout the overtime, you saw their like quick bursts of like, this is it. This is the energy. It wasn't just like a little like slap on trying to get the puck towards net. They were actually doing some gusto when they had an opportunity. My biggest takeaway is both goalies were phenomenal. Anderson for the Hurricanes played outstanding, and then Bobrovsky, as we've been talking about all playoffs and going into the playoffs, he's just absolutely stellar. I mean, like I said, 2-time Vezina winner, goaltender right there, and he's showing it. I'm fine with this. I want this because if the Knights can get past the Dallas Stars, I want these teams to do this like 5 more times. But this was an absolutely wonderful game to watch and a hell of a way to start off the Final Four. And so what was fun with this, it was the shot attempts were pretty low. Shots on goal. Shot attempts are a whole different thing than actual shots on goal. But it was fairly low for going over 2 games worth of shots. But get it over here. Box score team. Just get that out of the way. So 60 shots and 65 shots. 60 for the Panthers, 60 for for the Hurricanes. 60 for Florida, 65 for the Hurricanes, and that's not that many when you break it down into a little over 2 games. But the defense and everything, you really saw 4 lines playing for both teams. It was great. I was a little worried with the Panthers, like superstar Matthew Tkachuk. I was waiting for him to do more. He didn't have a shot on goal, I think, the entire overtime, because I know that he had 2 shots in the regulation. So he only had 3 shots on goal recorded the entire game. And the third one happens to be the game winner, which I watched that, and it was a sloppy trying to clear. But in my eyes, I thought it was a little controversial. It looked like it hit the linesman and stopped it from going out. And the linesman did try to get out of the way. But yeah, but regardless.
Well, there was all these goals that were in OT, or all the almost goals in OT, were a little like wonky. It had that one that was called back. There was a bunch of ones that like hit the crossbar or like hit the guy.
Yeah. And so the one
missed,
I wanted to get into that. So 2 minutes into the first OT, you had a goal by the Panthers. They'd won. Everybody started leaving, but they went to go check for goaltender interference. Some announcers were saying yes. Some announcers were saying no. The rules analyst that they called in was saying it was not goaltender interference, that the defenseman was pushing his momentum into the guy, into the Anderson, the goalie. I thought it was goaltender interference because the Hurricanes player, he wasn't pushing him. Like, he was just going backwards. He was getting position. He had his back face to him. And initially, the player that came in and scored that, or not scored the goal, but made the goaltender interference, before he got moved in by the defenseman, he is moving the goalie's skate. He is moving his skate with his skate just by coming into the zone, and that throws him off balance because now he can't get his foot into the ice and get back over on an easy puck that just like slid in from the shot. So I am fine with it being called goaltender interference. A lot of people weren't. Obviously, it doesn't matter in the end. They still won.
It
this would
is
have been a much
crazy
more.
that this is
This would have been a much
game
bigger
one.
talking point if Carolina won.
Yeah.
If Carolina won,
Yeah.
it would have been a much larger talking point, but didn't play out that way. So,
Well, it's
yeah.
also crazy that if that goal doesn't go in with like 12 seconds left, they're going to another OT, right? Like
Oh yeah.
this game
So yeah,
has been longer.
how OT works in I don't know if you know, but how OT works in the playoffs for hockey, it is golden goal, 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and it's 5-on-5. It's just like the game just continues to the next to the period, pretty much. Regulation now, the rules have always changed back and forth. Right now, it's 3-on-3 for 5 minutes. If no goal, then you go into a shootout. Obviously, they have to do that way, and there's a lot of people that don't like the shootout portion in hockey, but if you don't have the shootout and end the game, you're just gonna, and people are like, well, end it in ties. Well, that doesn't work with how their point system is.
Yeah.
But if you don't have it, end in a shootout and just actually get the game ended and you have a winner and loser, you're gonna end up with games like this, and they're gonna be exhausted. So, but I do like that they do it in the playoffs because you're here in the playoffs. I had an argument with somebody last night at the bar. I went out, actually. The wife and kid were asleep, and I actually went out and drank. And yeah. Anyway, I had an argument with this guy at the bar, and he was talking about, oh well, that seems unfair. These teams are going to be exhausted. They're going to be exhausted moving on, and it's like a disadvantage to them. Well, you know what? They made the playoffs. They should be able to finish a game out. They should be able to find a way to win. You're the best teams left in the NHL. Find a way to win. You just have to.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
No, I agree. I'm one of those weirdos that's always like shootouts. I just think it's a cool wrinkle to the game, kind of like penalty kicks. Like it doesn't happen all the time, so when it does happen, it feels special. I don't know. It feels like it's
Right.
like you're watching something different. Yeah. Plus, like you said, like if they literally just kept letting them play, when you get a game like this, if they didn't score in 15 seconds, this could potentially have just kept going, like OT after OT. And then, like you said, it's game one. Like now you're expecting these guys to keep playing in this series, like 2 days later. Jesus.
Well, I mean, a lot of players had reached over 40 minutes worth of ice time. 3 players collectively between the two teams reached over 50 minutes of ice time. Brett Burns for the Hurricanes. Can't stand the guy who used to play for the Sharks. Can't stand his beard. Ugh, that guy. Anyway, he did that over 55 minutes of ice time. And that is a lot for any player, but those defensemen are absolutely just bonkers tired. And then I know Forsling for the Panthers. Forsling for the Panthers. He was one of the defensemen that did go. Why does it keep going away? My stupid phone. Forsling was 55 minutes, almost 56, and then Ekblad was 52 minutes, and then you have I did miss this guy, and Brandon Montour for the Panthers, almost 58 minutes of ice time. That is absolutely bonkers for an individual to play in one game.
All their thighs and legs have to be so fucking sore today. Have you ever tried ice skating? Dude, your thighs fucking, it hurts so bad or hurts so good. You know what I'm saying, Casino? Like
right.
When your thighs burn? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. But
sorry. I was just getting told by it, probably a scam, but by Wells Fargo saying, did you try to do $366 at a Rite Aid in Memphis, wherever?
Yeah, I got
Memphis
that
is.
same scam thing yesterday, so it's definitely a scam.
Yeah.
But
Memphis. Who lives in Memphis?
Elvis.
Sorry, my Memphis.
Maybe this is proof that he's still alive, and we just broke it right here on the podcast. You never know.
That's Elvis trying to steal my code. Yeah. Sounds good.
Everybody thinks he's dead. He's got no money. But Casino, anything else to add on this game before we talk about the Knights and the Stars tonight?
No, not really. I just thought it was an outstanding goaltender matchup. Some of those shots were fantastic. As you're saying, like the goals towards the end of the game were getting a little, or chances were getting a little wonky. Anderson made this one really good save on a turnover that the Canes had down right in front of his net, and the Panthers players trying to deke him back and forth, but Anderson was staying strong, got it. You had a couple different bars, crossbars hit in OT. Also, you had really wonderful multiple stick saves by the goalies, where one was like off the shaft, the other one was the dude was down and lifts up his stick just enough while he's laying flat on the ice, and it hits the fat part of his stick. I'm sure you can see that on ESPN. I'm sure it's going to be the top 10, maybe even number 1 in the top 10. Obviously, they didn't get to play it last night because the game didn't end until it didn't end till 11 Pacific time. So there's no way that was going to be on SportsCenter that late. But no, I'm really excited to see how this series goes. I still think I have the Canes going. We were talking about Bobrovsky being the better goaltender going. Well, not better, but the hot goalie going in. Anderson in that game was outstanding. And yes, they lost, but I think he goes out with his head up high because he kept them in that game for two games and plus, technically. So
yeah,
the dude was an absolute stud. Yeah, I'm really excited to see this goalie battle back and forth. It'll be interesting. And then
I think I'm still taking
tonight,
the Panthers. I think
that's
I'm
fine.
still taking
That's
the
totally
Panthers.
Fine. I think either Dallas or the Knights can take. I think the cup comes back to the West this year. I think Dallas or Vegas will win the cup this year, and that's nothing against the East. They're good. But I like how Dallas and Vegas would match up against either one of those teams over there.
And as for that series, game 1 is tonight in Vegas, Casino.
Whoop,
and
whoop.
You have been nice
There's
enough
a lot going
to
on. There's a lot going on this weekend. You have EDC this weekend. You have Vegas Golden Knights this weekend. Oh man,
you got Disneyland trips this weekend. If you're me,
we're talking about in Vegas, buddy.
Come on. And Casino was nice enough to buy us center ice front row tickets for this game. Just me and him. We're going tonight. We'll be there live, probably on camera all night. Thank you, Casino.
Well, nice. You know, it's funny you say that. On Sunday, I've invited a lot of family friends over to the house on Sunday because we're going to get in the pool. White collar problems. We're going to get in the pool. We're going to watch, on my back patio and all that.
You're going to be eating caviar and champagne. Yeah.
Oh yeah, caviar off of my wife's baby belly. Yeah, all that thing. I don't know. That was when you said caviar. That was the weird thing that came in my mind was eating caviar off of people, and then my mind was like, how weird would it be to eat caviar off of my wife's pregnant belly? Sorry, that's how my mind works. Everybody,
new fetish
What's
unlocked.
Up? New fetish unlocked.
That's you're going to be searching that
unlocked. Oy vey. But no. So anyway, so funny you say that because I have people coming over, but there is a small chance because of graduations and this and that my owner of my business, who does have glass seats and would be in frame all the time. Well, me and my coworker, we put it in his ear of like, because we're two coworkers that haven't been invited yet. And we're two very hockey minded people, and he knows this. But he kind of mentioned like, oh, if I'm not able to make it, there's a possibility that he would give the tickets to me and my coworker. And if that's the case, I haven't even told my wife this. And we have people coming over Sunday. She can be the host, and I'm gone. I'm not gonna. I'm not going
It
to
is
say
gonna be
no to
hilarious
that.
on the next episode where we ask if you were at this game, and you're just gonna be like, no, he went.
Oh, no, I mean,
He went."
I don't expect this to fall or to come into fruition. I expect it to fall through 100% and not be a thing. But if there is that slight chance where I get the call, I'm going. I don't
You
care. The
will
wife doesn't know.
if you see the light in the sky, you will rip open your shirt, reveal that it's been you all along, and then be right there courtside. You got to take a picture with another person, and then I will superimpose my face on that person, so it'll be like we were there, and that will be
Well, one of the people
the
that were
podcast.
actually sitting near them um, was Brad Garrett, which is cool. So if I
Oh,
could get a picture of
I will
if
put
I
my face on Brad Garrett. That's been the dream. It's always been the dream
been the
since I
dream.
first watched Everybody Loves
Uh,
Raymond. I was like, I want my head on his shoulders. Now here's the chance, Casino. But as for the game tonight between the Golden Knights and the Stars, who do you think takes game one and why?
um, I think the Knights take game one because I do think Dallas is underestimating Vegas.
Okay.
I think nothing against Seattle, obviously. I mean, this is just knowledge. Vegas played a harder opponent in the Oilers than what Seattle is. Seattle had a great run. They're a good team. Like I said many times, deep team, very fast and scary because they could score a lot. But Dallas struggled against Seattle, who's a good four-line team. Well, Vegas is a better four-line team, and Vegas is coming off a high against the Oilers. And I don't think Vegas, especially since it's going against their old coach, they're going to be a little fired up, especially since a lot of people have doing the same thing. Even though Vegas is betting favorites, the analysts are still picking Dallas over Vegas. So they've got a chip on their shoulder. They talked about it in the Oilers series that everybody had the Oilers and nobody was picking us. That gave us fuel. Same kind of thing. So I just feel like there's too much for the Knights. Too much for going for the Knights for them to not win game one. If they lose, would I be absolutely shocked? No, because Dallas is a good team, really good team. But I don't think Dallas is understanding how much better Vegas is now than when they played in the regular season, when Vegas was not full tilt with all their players going with Bruce Cassidy's system. So now that all of our players are back, except for we have some injured goalies, but you have Hill playing well, and then you have Jonathan Quick, right behind him. Again, not in his prime, but I'll take him as a backup 100% because he's been there before. He has 2 cups. He knows you need to put pride aside and do what needs to be done to win games. And so for him to have to fall into Cassie's system, I'm sure he would as well. So I have the Knights. I just think Dallas won't be ready for it, or they're underestimating them, and the Knights have too much fire and things that are giving them juice to win game one. Will Dallas counter? Possibly, switch some things up. Mid-game, possibly, maybe too late. I think so, especially if Vegas can get out to a lead. I like Vegas' chances with the lead because they've been playing from behind almost the entire time. The thing that I am worried about, though, for the Knights is Dallas is another good power play. I mean, you had really good plays in the Jets and the Oilers. Vegas has really struggled on their penalty kill these playoffs. And I'm not sure if that's just because those two teams were really good on the power play or if Vegas was just being bad on the penalty kill. But they were able to figure out Oilers' penalty power play as the series went on. I'm just hoping that they can still stick to that, whether they let up a few goals. But I really think, again, it's going to come down to what you can do 5-on-5 versus the power play. of Dallas. I mean, Dallas is a good 4-line team, and we'll see how they set up tonight because they can run 4 lines or they can go top heavy as well. And they'll probably give the Knights multiple looks throughout the series, and the Knights will have to adjust. So I'm excited for it. I still have the Knights going through in 6. I think 6. I think I said 6. But yeah.
Yes, you said 6. I said 5. So I think the Knights win. I think they win potentially the first 3, and then Dallas gets 1, and then Knights close it out. So, yeah. I did pick the Panthers in 7. You picked Hurricanes in 6. So, for both those series, good stuff, good stuff. Now let's get over to the NBA casino. With the hockey game last night, did you catch any of this one?
Not a single bit.
None.
0. I watched 6 hours of hockey last night.
Yeah. I watched about 2.5 hours of hockey, and then the end of this game, and then this morning I went back and watched the first half that I missed of this game. I watched my son's 5th grade graduation was last night, so me and his mom took him to Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards because he likes Buffalo Wild Wings. Hey, casino, you know what's the worst place to watch a fucking sporting event?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings is the fucking worst. Unless they want to sponsor this podcast, then I will say you're not the worst, but maybe good. I don't know. It's just trash. Like, I hate going to sports bars during games because it's just people loudly cheering when their team does something, and then the other team loudly cheering as a response to the other people loudly cheering. So since we're in Vegas, I would say the locals here are 90% Lakers fans. Like, I don't even think that's an exaggeration. Like, it's just not.
It's
like,
not.
We're majority Lakers fans, especially with Vegas becoming so, like, California resident base now. It's, like, ridiculous how many Lakers fans we are. But at this particular Buffalo Wild Wings, it was, like, 70% Lakers fans, 30% Nuggets fans. So midway through the third quarter, the Lakers fans are cheering when a team scores 2 points like they just won the fucking game. And then the Nuggets fans would cheer in response, and it was for any length of time. If it's just the last 30 seconds of a game, it's fine. For an almost entire quarter and a half, God, was it fucking annoying. But that made it all the sweeter when the Nuggets win. I don't care about either of these teams. I've never been a Laker or Nugget fan, but watching the Lakers lose when the entire bar is cheering for the Lakers, I get that casino rush of just people being sad. It felt good. I liked it.
Yeah. So touching on that, all the Hurricane fans that stayed up till 2 a.m. in that arena and had to walk out super sad. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, dude.
Like,
imagine,
why did we stay? Why did we stay and watch this much of hockey and we still lost? And like every 5 minutes you look up and you see more people, like before the game ended, more people gone because everybody was like, I got work in the morning. I'm exhausted.
Dude, especially, that's what I was going to say, especially for it being a Thursday night. Like I wouldn't say most, some of those people had to be like, I have to wake up for work at 7, 8, 9 o'clock. It's fucking 2 a.m. and it's going to take me half an hour to get out of this fucking parking lot. Probably longer. Like, that's rough. But sadness and anger and fans being sad is what fuels this podcast. So
right.
That's why we're so energized today. Great moment. And those Buffalo Wild Wing guys being so sad when they left or whatever. Of course it was a dude, backwards hat, sunglasses on, because that's just like
that's what I look like.
Version of a Lakers fan. Yeah.
That's what I look like.
That's meme Lakers of the time.
Fan.
Indoors, it was 8 o'clock. But anyways, Lakers last night fall to the Denver Nuggets with a score. Oh, I just had it.
Do we want to talk about we didn't talk about Wednesday's game, Boston, Miami. We'll get into that later.
Oh, we did not. Oh,
No, so
okay.
let's do Denver, LA, and then we'll do that, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll make it a short show today. Sorry, people, but that's what happens when you only have 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot we didn't talk about that game. But wait, are you sure we didn't talk about that game on last episode?
Well, yeah, because we did. It was Wednesday night. We did Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Uh yeah.
Anyway,
So, yes, last night, but let's talk about last night's game first. The Nuggets win 108-103. I have some notes that I took while watching at Casino. In the first quarter, interestingly enough, this exact quote was read. I rewound it so I could get this quote word for word by, I believe, Mark Jackson, who said it. The Lakers get to the line more than any team in the league by a big disparity, and that's how they win. Interesting that that was said within 2 minutes into the first quarter of this particular game, almost like it was foreshadowing what we were about to see. I text you about midway through the third quarter, and just when they showed the fouls called team by team, and I sent it to you and said NBA fuckery in full effect. We talked about this potentially happening for either to benefit the Lakers or the Celtics. Well, it benefited the Lakers in Denver. I cannot even imagine the calls the Lakers are going to get in the next 2 fucking games at home if they're getting this wide of a margin of calls in the fucking opponent's stadium. The fouls ended up being, let's see. Oh, I just had it. Where?
20
Oh,
and
the
18.
fouls. It was 20-18 at one point, however, and remember, 20-18 when at the end the Lakers had to nonstop foul the Nuggets to make them shoot free throws, because at one time the Lakers had 22 free throw attempts, the Nuggets had 10. Okay, like, get the fuck out of here. I watched the entire game. The calls. So for the first quarter, I said the calls in the first quarter were fucking abysmal. Like, the ones they missed were so fucking obvious. And then the second quarter just got worse, and it never got fucking better. D'Angelo Russell, uh he misses on a call on the other end of the Nuggets, right? And the foul, and the refs are like, oh my god, or the announcers are like, how did they miss that call? How'd they miss that call? He immediately goes down, gets fouled, and then the announcers are like, how is that a foul? Literally in the broadcast, 2 back-to-back plays on the same player, the announcers are like, how did they miss that call? How did they miss that call? Next second, he gets called for a foul on him, and they're like, why? How is that a foul? And like again, it's just abysmal. Also, it's always so funny when calls are so abysmal but they only benefit one team. Like, isn't that interesting, Casino?
It
It's
is.
almost like how the Chiefs, we talked about it during football. All the calls are so bad, and yet they always just coincidentally benefit the other team. That, like, when the Chiefs are playing anybody, they always benefit the Chiefs. That's what we get in Lakers games. Always the calls are abysmal. They just always happen to fall in favor of the Lakers. Like, oh, that's fucking interesting. I wonder why that happens. But yeah, last night the Lakers ended up shooting 26 free throws, making 23 of them. Nuggets only shot 18 free throws. So when you look at the fouls, it's 19 and 18, but the fouls that matter are the ones that
20
give
and
you free
18.
shots. And they benefited the Lakers. Again, it was said 2 minutes in the first quarter. By a wide margin, the Lakers get more calls than anybody. Everybody knows why, but we have to pretend like that's just the game. That's just how it played. Okay, we're just going to have to deal with this every fucking game. We'll talk about the LeBron James flop in the fourth when we get to it. But for the second, so for the first quarter, I just had that. For the second quarter, I don't know why the broadcast decided to show the Hachimura going under the basket and then kind of doing like a little layup or whatever.
Layup.
They showed that one highlight in the span of 4 minutes about 75 times. And I kept trying to understand why that was the highlight they were showing nonstop. Like, it was a nice play, but it wasn't like you were talking about earlier. It's not going to make a Sports Center top 10 or whatever. They showed this highlight so many times. I was like, did I miss something? Am I fucking dumb? Like, why are they showing this? This, however, was maybe the funniest part of the game. On back-to-back Lakers possessions, LeBron James just fucks up a layup. He is wide open. He's streaking down the field. He goes to lay it up, and it just hits the rim and bounces off. And everybody, like the crowd, obviously because it's in Denver, like the crowd erupts. And then there is...
There it is.
Sorry, I'm getting too excited. My throat is... I'm still sick. Then it goes back to Nuggets. Almost, I think it's like 1 or 2 plays later. LeBron does a breakaway. He's going for a reverse, like, back dunk or whatever the fuck you call it. He's trying to do some, like, a nice little dunk for the audience to be like, fuck you for making fun of me. The ball slips out of his hand and goes out of bounds, and it's a turnover. He had 2 shots almost back to back that were wide open, him going down the lane, and he fucked both of them up. And obviously, because it was in Denver, the crowd was letting him have it, and it was glorious.
Well, they should.
It was glorious. However, the second quarter really was, I think, where you started to see the cracks in the Lakers' armor. The announcers kept talking about it. It was really obvious. I believe they showed a stat line where it was like 20-8 in transition points. The way the Nuggets, I think, win this series and beat the Lakers is threefold. One, the Lakers' transitional defense is, I'm going to use that word again, abysmal. It is so bad. When the Nuggets are on a fast break, the Lakers, not only do they look like they not run back at the speed you would expect an NBA team to fall back on defense, they always are out of position. They like cluster in the middle instead of protecting the wings. So you always have a shooter on the edge of the 3-point line. And the Nuggets just kept taking advantage of that. And then Aaron Gordon, for most of the game, was a liability on the perimeter. But I think when we talked last time about the Lakers making adjustments, the Nuggets, the adjustments they can make is get Aaron Gordon in the paint and literally just funnel the ball into him so he can he's so fucking tall. He literally just has to jump an inch to dunk it. And we saw that multiple times in this game. We also saw multiple times where the Lakers would just keep him uncovered on the 3-point line and like the perimeter, the 2-point line, and just like dare him to shoot. And then when he did, he missed wildly. So I think transitional defense and kind of that keeping Aaron Gordon occupied in the middle is what they need to do. Also, the Denver Nuggets were running laps, especially by the end of the game, around Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and most of this Lakers offense and defense.
Well, that's something I'm just looking at stats of is Davis just box scored, didn't have a good shooting night.
No, he was very good defensively, though. He had a very good defensive night, but offensively, they're going to need more from him. And him and LeBron at this point, I think I wrote a note of it right here. With 3:40 left in the second quarter, LeBron James is walking back from one end of the court to the other to get on offense. He's walking back, and you can see it in his body language. You can see it on his face. He just looked fucking exhausted. And again, this was second quarter with almost 4 minutes left. So this was not anywhere near the end of the game, and it never looked like he got his energy back. He's
Hmm.
walking back. They pass him the ball. He jacks up an ugly looking three, and then it misses. And then he kind of
Yeah.
like lightly is jogging back. And you could just see
0
on
and
his face,
0
like,
for 6. 0 for 6.
well, not only that, in the playoffs, in the fourth quarter, he is 1 of 20 on 3-point shots. 1 of 20. And he took, I mean, we talk about Steph Curry having like back breaking threes, right? But that's for the other team. LeBron has back breaking 3 attempts. I've talked about it multiple times on this podcast. No one can stop him in the paint on any team, even in this Denver series. When he wants a basket up the middle, as long as he's guarded, he makes it. You know, if it's not the dunk or the layup, he needs to have somebody on him that he can bounce off and just get right to the rim. All right, sorry, I'm getting too excited. I went into a coughing fit. That's why that was weirdly edited. But my last thing, Casino, besides running them off the court, because I really do think the age of LeBron might have finally caught up to him, because, yeah, the altitude in Denver's not helping, but he just looks
No.
like there's too many miles on those legs, and he is just fucking
And you know what?
done.
Do you think that's why he's shooting so many threes? And I mean, he was 0 for 6
Yeah.
instead of driving the lane.
Well, I think the threes are as a result of he's now defending the Joker on the other side, which takes obviously a lot of energy. And then he just doesn't have the energy now to, and this is because of Father Time, to just cut through the middle, bounce off 2 or 3 guys and get the bucket. So he's being like, well, my only other option is to shoot. The easiest way to shoot is just stand on the perimeter and jack up a 3. And that's what we've seen. He played again every fucking game. He's playing 40 minutes. And remember, they went 7 against they went 6 against Golden State. Like, they were in the playoff game. Like, he's been playing 40 minutes for, at this point, for like 2.5 months. Like, that is a lot of fucking wear and tear on anybody, let alone one of the older players in this series, obviously. But he still almost had a triple double. He went 22
Yeah,
points,
he was
9
one
rebounds,
rebound
10
away
assists.
from it, right? Yeah, one.
But
you know who did have a triple double?
well,
Was
now
Joker.
we can shift over, to talk about the Nuggets. And
dude, so when talk about a player coming out party in this playoffs, Reeves. I mean, Reeves 22 points. He tied LeBron James for most for the team. Like, that's pretty great. So you did say something about last game, fourth quarter, that Hachimura had Joker figured out. I mean, he had a pretty good game. So maybe he did figure out a little bit, but Denver's too good to not adjust to that.
Well, Hachimura in the first half of the game was 6 for 6 with 17 points in only 14 minutes off the bench. So he had a great offensive performance. And then defensively, the crazy thing is, talking about the Nuggets offense, like, Jokic didn't have that great of a game, and he still put up a triple-double. In 42 minutes, he scored 23 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists. But when you were watching the game, it's not like he leapt off the screen at you. He didn't have a great game. The person who had the great game was Jamal Murray, who scored 37, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. But in the first half, I mean, he couldn't hit anything. I believe he ended the first half with like 10 points, but he was like 4 for 12 or something like that, like from the fields. He was not having a good shooting night at all. And then Hachimura was having a great shooting night, and then, or just a great game in general. And then it kind of switched where Hachimura scored 17 in the first quarter, or in the first half, and then only ended the game with 21 points. So he only scored 4 points after halftime, which he kind of disappeared. But like you're saying, the emergence of Reeves as just a really good 3-point shooter at the end of this game, it's ironic, or not ironic. It's funny that at the end of the game, you almost wanted the ball out of LeBron James' hands and into the hands of this random guy named Austin Reeves. I mean, he was on fire and he was matching Jamal Murray almost shot for shot. But Jamal Murray was making, with how bad his shooting was in the first half,
as we've been sitting here, I've been pulling up some highlights and I just see Murray just draining phenomenal
threes that weren't open. Like he was draining threes with
that's
somebody
that's what I'm seeing here. Like that's absolutely phenomenal. What a game by Jamal Murray. Good for him.
Well,
fantastic, man.
The playoffs have just been this emergence of Jamal Murray as a real number 2 on this team, only behind the Joker. In the regular season, he was only averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. The last couple games, he has gone for 37, 31, 26, 19, 28, 32. And then against Minnesota, the last game against Minnesota, he scored 35. First game against the Suns, he scored 34. So, I mean, he has just emerged as a real threat and a real good 3-point shooting option. And especially the most important point, or the most important part, especially coming from a Sixers fan, he's emerged as a closer. Like, he gets hot at the end of games and is really like the final nail in the coffin of whatever teams they're playing, because the Lakers, they were coming back in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden Jamal Murray just rips off like 4 threes in a row, and now all of a sudden the Lakers were within 2, now they're down 12. Like, and it happened like within a minute and a half, and it was just a hot Jamal Murray night. But the last thing we can talk about is, did you see the LeBron James flop from Nikola Jokic where he ends up in the first row? He gets like pushed, quote unquote, ends up in the first row and somebody spilled their drink like on him. So LeBron James took, I don't know, give or take 94 minutes to get off the ground and like wipe it off and be like, I'm good to go. But this is where, when shit like this happens, I give LeBron a little credit because it is really smart. He took that moment to sit on the ground and literally regain some type of energy.
I'm watching this right now.
It was obviously a flop. Everybody, even NBA players on Twitter, were calling him out for flopping. But in terms of strategy, it was really smart because, like I said, you could tell the end of the second quarter or even midway through the second quarter, LeBron James was fucking out of gas. So
there was no Joker didn't even touch him.
Well, yeah, but that's why it's a flop, because it was obvious it wasn't a penalty. But then Joker on the next possession got a call back in his favor that was clearly a flop in response to LeBron James' flop, and you could see Joker kind of like laughing it off, like, if you can do it, I can do it. And so those two canceled each other out. But the strategy of it was at least smart, even though I fucking hate flopping, much like anyone who ever watches the NBA. But to conserve energy, to sit there, to be like, okay, we got a couple minutes left in this game. Let me try to win it.
When LeBron looks up to the guy who spilled the drink on him, he was like, "Thank you." Like,
yeah,
thank you so much. Okay.
Well, the ironic part is probably the thing that hurt him most was him throwing himself to the ground to flop. So that was probably where, if he did get hurt, it was from his exaggeration of throwing himself to the ground. So, yeah. But LeBron James, so far, this game was a bad LeBron James game. He has not really had a good last couple of games, again, with his erratic shooting habits where he doesn't even have good looks on threes. He literally just jacks them up to conserve energy so he can't go up the middle. And then Anthony Davis, we've always talked about, he's very hot or cold, and the Nuggets already survived a 40-point Anthony Davis game. Can he get more than that? Maybe. Will he? Probably not. So I picked the Nuggets, I believe, in 6, I want to say. I picked the Heat in 5, the Nuggets in 6. After these two games, I will say the same thing I said that came true with Celtics 76ers. If the Nuggets win one game in LA, this series ends in 5. The next 2 are in LA. I think the Lakers potentially take the next one, but I think then the Nuggets take 2 in a row. There's no way, and I'm not going to bet money on it, but I feel pretty confident in saying from what I've seen from these first 2 games, I don't think there's any way the Lakers can win 4 games in this series to win it. It's just the Nuggets are just too good of a team. And they made some adjustments. Even with Joker, quote unquote, having a bad game, it was still a triple double. So I just don't think the Lakers have enough gas left in the tank. Yeah, and we'll talk about. Oh, I think Casino's out of here. We'll kick. And we'll keep them up there. Who cares? All right. Let's talk about a game I wasn't even prepared to talk about because I legitimately thought we already talked about it. But it is a game I watched that I loved because now everybody knows I am a Jimmy Butler fan, which means I am a Heat fan. And the Heat did the most predictable thing that everybody was acting like wouldn't happen, which was they go into Boston, they beat Boston like they did last year. They go in, take away the home field advantage like they always do, like they've done this entire playoff series. And Jimmy Butler, he had a Jimmy Butler game. He scored 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Bam Adebayo has really emerged as the number 2 star on this team, especially in this playoff run. He was 28-5, and then you're getting 15 across the board from guys like Vincent, Strus, Martin, and then of course Kyle Lowry. So great basketball game. The Celtics didn't really do anything dumb. They kind of just got outplayed by, again, a very good team, right? Everybody always talks about Jimmy Butler on the Heat, but you feel confident that when Miami is putting up a shot, it's going to be a good shot. Like the Miami Heat, again, everybody gets annoyed by Heat culture, but you watch these games and Heat culture literally just means really smart plays, really efficient shot making. Like you get what you get from Jimmy Butler almost every game. He's the most consistent star still left in these playoffs, maybe only behind Joker, but yeah. And then the Celtics, they had a Celtics game, like, and they still lost, which is why I think it's concerning. They had, oh, my alarm's going off. They got 30 points from Tatum, 7 rebounds, only 1 assist in 41 minutes. They got Horford to be the defensive standout he's always proven to be. So, yeah. And then you got Brown, you got Smart, you got Brogdon with 22, 13, and 19. And then you even had White make an appearance with 11 points. So again, if you're a Heat fan, I feel like I picked them in 5. I feel like you have to be confident. They've had the Celtics number the past couple seasons. I know they lost to them, last year in the playoffs, but this team just, nobody can understand how it works. But they've said this for 2.5 months at this point. Like this team just knows how to win, especially in the playoffs. They just become a deadly, deadly shooting team where in the regular season, they were like middle of the pack, maybe bottom third of the league in terms of shooting three-point percentage. And they're like hands down the number 1 best 3-point shooting team in the entire playoffs at this point. And then obviously they have the ingredients to win. They have size with Love and Adebayo. They have the star. They have really good perimeter shooters. They're really good at rebounding. They're really good at putting up efficient shots, good at passing. Like they're the whole package. The Celtics, again, they're going to win games in this series. I picked the Heat in 5, but this could easily go 6-7. This could easily be a Jason Tatum in here, a Brown game, a Smart game where just one of them goes off and single-handedly wins the game. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I just think in terms of consistent play, I'm picking the Heat all day. So, yeah, we will be back. This was a little bit shorter show today, but Casino's having some stomach problems. I'm still sick and my throat is just gone, right? So it's a little bit shorter show today, but we were also only here 2 days ago. So not much else to talk about in terms of what's happened in the past 2 days, but there will be stuff to talk about. We'll be back next Tuesday to talk about what has transpired in the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. So I've been Will. That was Casino. This has been the Only Sports Podcast, and we'll see you Tuesday. Have a great weekend.